Well, I know. And major shout out to the guy clear over on the other end of the desk, Matt Wintz. He was at the helm of this year's Weather Education Day. So great job today, Matt. Thank you for all that work.
Learn from the best. We know that. Betsy was a huge help. But it was wonderful to get everyone together, not just the weather team, but so many big organizations in Cleveland and talk weather. And I mean, we learned something from each other too, which is cool. Kids were sleeping 5 minutes in, but outside of that.
They were out of school. They didn't care. No.
Yeah, they're in the sunshine. Did you really think you were going to keep their attention?
Maybe for a little bit.
I'll tell you, the one thing that I was fascinated about, Betsy was telling me earlier today about how the weather impacts the flight of the baseball.
Right. It does.
I imagine it has something to do with molecules.
It does, very much so.
Wow, Jay.
You want as few molecules as possible in the flight path of the ball.
Right, because molecules create resistance.
Very good.
That's your weather word today.
Molecules?
Yeah, there it is.
Okay, all right, we'll get that in and set it like 80 times the ballpark. It's interesting. It's not just the wind, though, that impacts it, right? It's the density of the air, humidity all that stuff. Yeah, there's so much that goes into it. So the Guardians' offense will get better, obviously, because I don't have a reason for that. We'll figure it out.
Well, they're dead last right now in baseball.
So they will get better.
I know.
They will get better.
If Detroit scores 4 runs today, then the Guardians are bottom of the barrel when it comes to runs. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Oh, we got to turn the ship around. Speaking of turning the ship around, if it was getting a little too warm for you yesterday, boy, we've turned things around. What a front that's moving through northeast Ohio as we speak. It's actually just down to the south. Cold air kind of lags behind this time of year. Look at the 60s to north. We go from 64 downtown all the way down to 80 in Dover right now. Akron, you're right in between in the 70s. We've got a brisk north wind. We've had gusts over 25 at times. And this wind is going to continue tonight. It's going to back off a little bit, but we've got a little breeze that will stick around tonight. And just look at the clouds that pop. This is that push of that cold front coming due south out of Canada. We've got some leftover clouds. That atmospheric haze is still around, so the sky not quite blue, but we're starting to clear it out from the north as more refreshing air comes in. Cold front now down near the Columbus area. And it did spark a couple showers just south of Dover, New Philly. Overall, not a lot of moisture with us. Most of it's off towards the north. So what we're dealing with now is the cooler air, and we've got frost and freeze warnings as you get up into Michigan, areas of the UP and Wisconsin. We're not expecting this tonight, but this gives you an idea of what the molecules are doing in the atmosphere tonight. They're moving real slowly, and when you have that, you have cooler conditions. And in terms of temperatures, that's where we're going to find ourselves in the 40s tonight. Mainly clear skies. Notice the breeze is still with us. A good 5 to 10 wind tonight. Not going to be anything earth-shattering. But, you know, if you do like the fresh air coming in, maybe a windows open kind of night, extra blanket, you know, extra log on the fire. I think that's a saying. I screwed that up a couple years ago. But anyway, you get the picture. And speaking of big picture, it's quiet across the eastern half of the country. Look at the clear skies from here down to Georgia. There's a lot of action down towards Florida. Not a good place to be right now in terms of the weather. It's just so rainy. And then there's some action out in the plain states. But nothing is really moving outside of this front that went through. And the reason why is the jet stream. So what I put on here is the jet stream, which drives weather systems from west to east. Typically this time of year, yeah, it goes up in Canada, but you see more of a push with it to keep the weather rolling. And what it's doing right now, it's got this huge undulating pattern where it goes up and down. And when you have that, things get stuck and there's not a lot of movement. And that is the reason why our weather pattern is just kind of stuck. And it's not a bad place to be stuck in because we've got high pressure and mainly clear skies. What a stretch, right? So here we go. National Design an hour-by-hour forecast. Here are the cooler temperatures tonight. Notice waking up tomorrow morning, maybe some upper 30s in spots. Most of us will fall down to the 40s, but it will be chilly tonight, and that's how we'll start our Thursday. Some high clouds will float through from time to time tomorrow. We ought to see the blue sky again as that atmospheric smoke should be well south of here, courtesy of that front. But look at temperatures tomorrow. Upper 50s near the lakeshore, perhaps. We're going to go low 60s. We'll be in the mid 60s down to the south, but that's cool compared to where you've been, and that is below average. We've got another cold start Friday morning. I think a tick or two colder. Might have some 30s out there as well, and then we start to warm things up. We'll have temperatures up near 70 degrees on your Friday. We've got a Memorial Day weekend to plan. A lot of you traveling, a lot of you staying at home, so let's take you through it. If you're getting an early start, that rain will continue out in the plains on Thursday. Quiet across areas of the Mid-Atlantic, Ohio Valley. The rain continues down to the southeastern half of the United States, and more of the same. On Friday, we'll fast forward to Saturday afternoon. Some of that rain starts to creep into areas of Tennessee from a high pressure out towards the east. We're still dry, still some action out in the plains. The blue is not snow, that's wind. All right, that impacts travel. Just ask Austin if it was windy on down to Cincinnati. And notice Sunday we're still dry, watching some moisture coming in from the southeast. But overall, this is not a bad weather map if you're traveling for Memorial Day or even coming back after that. So let's take you through it number-wise. Union Hill Mortgage 7-day forecast. Lots of sunshine in the forecast. My goodness, we don't have a chance of rain all the way through next Thursday at this point. So yes, what we'll talk more about in the next half hour is the warm-up coming next week and the potential abnormally dry or slight drought that we could be entering. We certainly could use the rainfall. We'll let you know how typical this is for this time of year coming up in the next half hour.
I thought about you saying that yesterday when I was watering my plants today, thinking, okay.
Get used to it.
Get used to this.
Yeah.
Yes.
More to come.
Matt,
All right,
thank
Matt.
you for the heads up.